I'm not going to pick on your style of being a dungeon master, but I do want to address something. Or at the very least, I need you to explain something to me. GameMasters here, and I was introduced to Dungeons & Dragons back in the 1980s. I cut my teeth on THAC0, saw armor class being its best when it was at its lowest possible number, all the better if you had a negative armor class, and I moved through the editions adding what I liked to my game and ignoring what I didn't. 5th edition has been around since 2014, 10 years now, and I don't know if this is an edition thing or just how new DMs view the game, but I've been seeing comments like this a lot more often as of late. Not when I pay for it. Now, let me give the context. I did a video a few days back about a screenshot that Beetle and Grimm put out that shows a pixelated Illustrial Silverhand and her stats from the new Vecna Eve of Ruin book. Kind of leaked it a little bit. In that video, I deciphered the stat block as best I could and read off about 13 spells that she had. The initial comment from a viewer was, Illustrial Silverhand, the Mage of Silvermoon, with no spells, classic D&D these days, tame and boring. To which I pointed out part of the video where I said she has spell casting. It reads, Illustrial casts one of the following spells using intelligence as the spell casting skill. Dancing Lights, Detect Magic, Mage Armor, something I can't make out, Mage Hands, and another one that I really can't make out, Detect Thoughts, Dispel Magic, Tongues, something, Teleport, and Time Stop. The reply back was, at GameMasters, have you read what I said? 3 lame spells is not a spell list. Original 5e spell lists are far better. The D&D 1 spell lists with 3 spells a day are garbage and reminiscent of 4e. They rely on gimmick abilities and a few spells that are very boring. I replied, simple solution. Give her whatever spell list from whatever school you want. That's what makes role-playing games so fun. You can add in what you feel is missing so that it's not boring. And the final reply was, at GameMasters, not when I pay for it. Now, again, I'm not picking on this individual. I'm not saying that they're wrong, but I am curious of the mindset because it's something that I don't entirely understand. As I mentioned a moment ago, I grew up playing and running D&D. We'd add in parts that we wanted and we would ignore parts that we didn't like. That's how we understood that the game was to be played. Put another way, I go shopping, right? I look at cake mixes. Do I not get one because it tells me that I have to add water and eggs and oil? I mean, if I'm going to pay for it, it should come with all the ingredients needed, right? Or I look at the steaks. So I choose not to buy one because it doesn't come with the charcoal or a skillet or other tools necessary to cook it. I mean, D&D, hell, any role-playing game for that matter, is the same way. You got to add to the basis of it. It's just the raw material, but to make it the way you want it to be, you got to add flavor, spices, other ingredients, and tools, right? To the not when I pay for it type comment, and again, there have been other comments made in similar, in other videos in a similar fashion. Things like, typical WotC, releasing material that we have to finish writing for them. Or, why can't they release a finished product that we don't have to write? Now, my mind is having a hard time wrapping itself around that thought. Again, I'm not trying to dismiss it, and I don't want to assume that those are simply troll comments. I'm not trying to say that it's wrong thing to think or feel. I just don't understand it because I've always approached role-playing games with the understanding that that's exactly what we were supposed to do. Create what we wanted. Use the material provided as inspiration, but ultimately craft and shape that material to however it works best at our table. Every Dungeon Master's guide, from 5th edition all the way back to even 1st edition, has had wording similar to this. This one is in 5th edition, by the way. Every DM is the creator of his or her own campaign world. Whether you invent a world, adapt a world from a favorite movie or novel, or use a published setting for the D&D game, you make that world your own over the course of a campaign. I guess that's what I'm asking. That's what I'm wanting to address, because I fully admit that I've been running role-playing games for so long that adding to them, I feel, is downright expected. And even in looking at it from a pure logic standpoint, it's estimated that about 50 million people play Dungeons & Dragons. Like Wizards of the Coast or hate them, there simply is no feasible way for them to produce any single given book or adventure that is going to please the vast amount of players equally. By sheer nature of that alone, we've got to add ingredients to our game because what works at my table, what makes my players happy, may not work at your table or make your players happy. In short, editing the content to make it work for you, I 100% can comprehend. But to expect it to work flawlessly from cover to cover with not adding anything to it, I can't grasp that concept. Now, if it's simply that one doesn't like Wizards of the Coast's business practice, okay, that I can fully understand. But I don't see how that is connected to not wanting to customize one's role-playing game, that you shouldn't have to customize it just because you paid for it. Or is it a comment like this that's more targeted at the disappointment of the various things that Hasbro and WotC has done, that it's more of a generalization and not specific to not wanting to customize your own game? To that end, please converse with me down in the comments. Again, I'm not attacking, I'm purely wanting to understand the mindset. I'm not looking for chaos in the comments either. I'm looking for a good, solid, rational discussion. I'm likely to have follow-up questions for you if you do choose to comment, and if you'd like to check out the leaked Illustrial Silverhand stat block video, you can check it out here next. But yeah, talk to me down in the comments. Help me to understand what this is really all about. Until next our paths cross, may you domesticate